to start your city, but you don't have any idea on how to start the best entrance to your city. I'm going to explain that to you in these simple tips. So the first tip is your roads. Does it matter on which type of road you use? No, not really. There are just some things that you should really use, and that is to keep the nice traffic flowy. And how do you do that? Well, with simple roads. You don't really have to use highway roads, you can just use normal roads, but thus keep it in mind that these have 3 lanes. And if you are going to use a 2-lane road like I have here, you can continue this on, but they need to, well, put together in just 2 roads. And I would suggest setting this up with TMP, the traffic manager, with the lane collector, that you only have these 2 roads that they can use. Right now I have these 2 roads right here, and I'm going to connect them up, as you should, because the traffic can go on to the other way, to go around and go back to another city. They can get out of your city and they can get into your city, and yes, this is just a simple thing that you should add. Then they can continue on. So this is basically your entrance. It doesn't really matter on how many lanes you're going to use if you just set up your lane arrows, your lane connectors the correct way. Well, if we've done this, how are we going to put people into our city? Well, yes, that leads me to the second tip, and that is using interchanges. Yes, I don't want to have any interruptions into my cities when I'm setting up the entrance. Why? Because a lot of traffic is going over these 2 roads. And I don't want to have any interruptions. I do want to add 1 lane or getting off the road with 1 lane, but not getting too many on, because that is going to interrupt how your traffic is acting. And I'm going to show you why. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a road, and I'm going to do a 2-lane road, just a normal 2-lane road in either side of direction. I'm going to put it on the page up, and I'm going to do it decently high. Then I'm going to do it across the whole roadway, and I'm going to make it a little bit longer because I always keep it too short. You will know why in a second. Alright, now I'm going to my highway road, because that is the only road really that has 1 lane. And this is really important. So now, you are going to have 1 lane coming on to your junction. And I'm going to do it a little bit like this, so that it's not too high and not too steep. And like that, I'm also going to end it. And like that, I'm going to begin it right like this, and right from there I'm going to end it. Yes, now you've done that, and with 2 lines coming on to 1 line more, you have 3 lines. 2 lines going on, 1 line going off. Alright, 2 lines going on and 1 line coming on is 2. Wait, that's going to give a problem right there. Alright, how are you going to fix this again? Well, yes, probably the best situation would be doing a 3-lane road. This will solve the problem with adding 1 on, 2 adding on. It will become 3, like your mathematics in the game you basically need. Right, here you can see that it is 2 lanes going on, but 2 lanes right here. That's also not really correct. How are you going to fix that? Well, basically just adding 3 lanes, then 2 can go on and 1 can go off. 2 lanes are going on and 1 lane is coming on to 3 lanes. This is the best entrance that you can have in your city. And I would suggest doing it a little bit farther out, so that the traffic can, well, put nicely together in 2. So that I have a little bit more space and a little bit more room, a little bit more time to come together to 2 lanes. I would suggest doing these. Right, now you have your interchange right here. And why I love the interchanges on top of highway roads is because they don't interrupt your traffic on the central road. Yes, I'm calling these highway roads your city entrance, the highway or the central road. This road is really important. This road is going to be a whole lot busy and you really want to keep it nice and flowing, because it doesn't really nice and flowy, you cannot have any income and you will lose money in your city, and your citizens will abandon your city. So you don't want that to happen, and I would suggest doing it like this. This is really simple. You can create this by yourself. You just saw me creating this, and you can create this with any type of road. So if you want to do this with highway roads, that is completely fine. But if you don't have that kind of money and you are playing with limited money, then I would suggest doing smaller roads. And yes, for these two highway roads right here, you only have a road here that says 3 lanes going on, 3 lanes coming back. I would suggest doing a 2-lane that goes in the same direction all the way on how far you need it to be. If you can do it all the way across to your whole city, then I would suggest doing that. But if you can't and play with limited money, I would suggest doing a little bit further, but not that much, so you will stay and keep a lot of money. You don't have to do it as far as I did now, because if you are starting really small and just started with your city, you really want to start small and just spend as little as money as you can on your city, on your roads, and to have it nice and flowy in your road system. Right, so now you've done this, now you can actually use these roads, and these roads are on any type of direction, right? Remember this. These roads, these cars need to go all the way coming here, and they need to go up there, or they need to go out of your city, right? By using these roads. They need to go in 2 different directions when you go a road across of this other types of roads, because these roads are only going 1 direction and these roads are going in 2 directions. Really important. So on how I did the slip lanes, I just used the highway slip lane or highway ramp road. I just did one there and one here. Alright, and from the one that goes across, I used it on the 2-way roads. Just a normal simple road. I just got from the first one. You can also add trees to it or just some little grass. I don't really care on which road I use, but now I can use this road. This road goes in multiple directions, so I can now do page down and say that I want to have it to the ground. Well, this is a little bit more dramatic, but you will know what I mean. Now you can start your residential area, and right on this other side you can also add your industrial. Yes, this is the way on how I would set up a small starting city with limited money, and this is the way on how I should do my road network. And if you really want to get into it, I would also use traffic manager setting up. You can use the despawning mode, and if you really want to fiddle with the traffic, disable this or enable this. Doesn't really matter on which you use, but really try to use this. Then I would use the lane connector. Really important. Connect up these lanes so that they get a dedicated lane on which they need to continue up. Because you know the cars in City Skylines aren't really that smart, and they will choose their own lanes. And they are really dumb. So now you are just showing them a direction they need to go to. Right, like this. This way, when there's another lane adding, they can have actually a whole lane to themselves. They don't need to switch, they don't need to do weird things, they just can add themselves to the highway road. I would suggest using the traffic manager mod. I will leave it down in the description. So, these were all the basic tips that I could give you on the perfect city entrance to your city. You can do this with any type of road as long as you set it up like this, basically. Or you can do this in a more fancy way when you have a lot of money, and you can also add a junction or an interchange right here from the Steam Workshop, for example. If you know how to do that, then you can all have all of these different types of interchanges. But this is a really fancy way on when you have a little bit more money in your city. But if you don't, I would suggest using these simple interchanges, and you can make this one yourself. It maybe does not look the prettiest, but it works really fine. So, if you still have problems with your traffic and you have a lot of traffic jams in your city, I would suggest watching this video right here on how to solve traffic jams.